You know, people in general. It's just a
No,
general statement.
then you people.
Well, I mean, he's your son, right? We we
Yeah.
we are we are live. So what tends to happen most times, depending on the name and the platform, people
Uh-huh.
rearrange their schedule to,
To accommodate it.
yeah.
Well, this the thing. That is not my DNA. You know that. How many decades you been knowing me?
Woo. We go way back to the air days.
Okay. So you're saying that this is my character, that's my DNA? Is
No,
that
no,
what you're
no,
saying?
no, 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 no. And
Okay.
you shouldn't be held accountable for what your
Okay.
children do because you raised them right.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. I just wanted to be sure I was catching the shade that you was throwing. That's all.
It was directed to your spiritual son.
But the way you were throwing it, because you were saying
It,
fruit no different than the tree.
well, no, no, that wasn't the intent. If it came across that
Okay.
way,
Okay. Okay.
uh,
Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. That's
no,
why I remember out the gate I said, "Oh, I can't cover you on this. You got to speak up."
yeah, 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 you did.
Yeah.
So good morning, everybody. We've got a few people on. Uh, you know, Eunice Poole. Good morning, Trina. Trina. Good morning. If you are on, why don't you say something? Without you saying something to us, there's no way I can identify you. Teresa Lockett. Good morning. Technology is amazing, and we're thankful for it. I've got a special guest on with me this morning. There are some things that we're going to be discussing this morning that I think is of vital importance for us as a people, for us as a community. Arthur Wilson. You know what? And maybe I shouldn't do this, but what does peace to the gods mean? I really don't understand that. The little bro is on this morning. Irvin Jones, good to see you, bro. Um, Arthur Wilson, what does peace to the gods mean? I ask him that because he's an ordained minister. Last that I checked, and I don't understand. I really just don't understand it.
Okay.
Gary Randolph, what's up, brother? Janine Baker, good morning. Michelle Shea, good morning. Stacy Taylor, good morning. Good morning to everybody that is on. Please do me a favor, invite somebody, share. I've got a special guest, Dr. James White, uh, and I'll let him give the introduction of who he is, and I'll talk about who he is and who he's been to me. In the meantime, everybody invite somebody, share. Arthur Wilson, I stay ready. You should know that, son. All right. Bless you. Charmaine Stevens, good morning. I have a few sons and daughters out there too.
Right. Right. Hey.
The problem is they don't want to call me daddy, but they
Are you taking care of them? No. Have you raised them right?
I did raise them right. Marcus Smothers, good morning. So good morning, everybody. This morning we're going to be discussing justice for Jacob Blake.
Hmm.
Where do we go from here? There are a lot of things that we want to address with our community. We are a community of people. We are a family. And I have one of the senior pastors of Heritage Christian Center, also the president of the faith based coalition that I'm a part of, Dr. James White. Now, I know I said I was going to let you do your own introduction, but, I threw that out there.
Hey, I have no problem with it. You did an amazing job. First and most importantly, thank you so much for allowing me to grace the incredible Coffee Time platform. So I am truly honored and humbled that you would allow me on and for us to have this discussion. Thank you for your focus for years. I've had the privilege of watching you host Coffee Time before it was even popular to do a daily time of inspiration. Long before the pandemic, you have been inspiring minds, requiring us to think higher and speak life no matter what we're faced with. The Lord of the afternoon drive. I mean, so I appreciate your consistency. You're not a fly by nighter. Oftentimes, when things happen, we see people pop up and it's like, okay, Who are they? You know, really putting context to it. Where have they been? How have they laid their voice? How have they put their weight for our community to push us forward? You have constantly done that. Salute, sir. Salute, salute, salute. Thank you so much for linking arms with Dr. T and I in the faith-based coalition. It wouldn't be a fraction of what it is without people like you, sir, lending your weight, your credibility, your strength, your intelligence to it. So thanks
My
again, sir.
God, can I ask you to say all that again? Can you say all that? Won't no.
With ease. Wait, with ease. With ease. With ease. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Well,
So and
Dr. White, I appreciate you. That's compliment is very causes me to shrink in nature. It's very humbling. I really do appreciate that, and I don't say that lightly.
mhm,
But you and Dr. T have been everything to me. I shared this with you a couple of months ago, and it's worth repeating now that I believe the relationship took on a different dimension
mhm,
when I had just gone through a divorce.
mhm,
I was at that time, no one knew it, but I just knew whatever God had for me in terms of what I believed and deemed at that time his anointing.
mhm, mhm,
I felt like that part of my life was over. There was no more
mhm,
ministry in me. And the best that I could do is serve somebody and hope. And it's amazing because I knew better.
mhm,
But when you're
mhm.
in a state of depression, the enemy literally begins to rule your thoughts. And those were the
Yes,
thoughts
indeed.
that I had. And I never forget receiving a call from you and Dr. T.
Mhm,
It was for a Thanksgiving concert.
mhm,
And I kid you not, for about 5 or 6 months, in my opinion,
mhm, mhm,
seemingly the anointing, the oil of joy that had been
mhm,
placed on my life seemed stagnated still. And if I could just be truthfully honest,
mhm.
absent.
Yeah.
And it was in that invitation that we did a Thanksgiving concert. I
Mhm,
did it out of obedience, not really wanting to because I didn't feel worthy.
mhm,
And that
mhm,
night, something ignited in that building right there on Normandy.
mhm.
And I tell you this, the fire has not gone. Ow!
I love it. I
The
love it. I
fire
love
has not through
it.
ups and downs, ins and outs. And I tell you this, sometimes I get things late.
Mhm,
Sometimes it just doesn't register.
mhm.
But when it does, you'll never be able to take it from me.
Right.
And how
Right.
the enemy tripped me up psychologically through scriptures that time, oh, he would
Mhm.
never be able to do that again.
Look, game over. Thanks for playing. Right. I got you.
So I appreciate you and Dr. T for your constant and consistent love, friendship, and just over the years, I've gleaned from the lifestyle of you and your wife, Dr. T,
Mhm,
um, and it's in some great measure has been somewhat of a model of how we should live our life as saint. And I mean that.
mhm,
I mean that
mhm.
with all my heart. There are not too many people that I can say, nah, you can look at their life. Just look at their life, watch their life.
Mhm.
Because there are a lot of people in the faith that are gifted, but the lifestyle doesn't match the gift. And I understand that
Right.
there's grace and space for growth.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
some people, it's a lifestyle to live wrong, and they lean
Right.
on the grace of God as a cover. And I've
Right.
not ever seen that with you and Dr. T. It's always been times of word, impartation, inspiration. There are
Mhm.
times it's been shoulder to shoulder. There's times it's been, boy, you need to come on up. Whatever the relationship has been in the moment,
Right.
you all
Right.
have been a lot of everything to me, and I am grateful for you all.
Totally humbled. I really do appreciate it. Really do appreciate it. Saying that, of course, when you mentioned that before, that thing really buckled me. It was like, wow, because you don't know what God is doing in your life and how it impacts other people. Because I am so right now, of course, we're worshiping online because of how the numbers have skyrocketed in our city. I so miss the fellowship with the saints.
Yeah.
I've been watching these verses, right?
Hmm.
So I don't want to. It has inspired me, but I don't want to do a verses. I just want to do a night of worship.
I'm
So
in.
So I all right, great. Well, very good. So we just
Um,
got to set it
in.
uh whether we are virtual and it's just a couple of us there in the building and we stream it to everybody else. I need me some just shouting and laying out time. You know what I'm
Listen, sir.
saying? Oh man, my playlist is only Christian stuff. I'm not against anybody who has a different playlist. That's just mine. And with it, I enjoy that. That's great. But boy, I miss the saints.
Yeah.
Jesus, I miss the saints. I miss the fellowship, and I miss a live worship experience. I
Yeah.
miss looking into the eye of the worship leader. I miss being in the atmosphere where I could feel that kick drum.
Yeah,
So,
man.
whoo, Dr.
What?
T and I, we've been talking, and I'm like, oh, we got to do something. So I would like for it to be a citywide thing. Of course, our city, there's competition, which I don't understand how we compete, but nonetheless, I'm so not interested in that kind of stuff. So I want us to, let's put something together, no matter where we got to do it. Uh, ooh,
Listen,
what if we do it in the parking lot? I just saw. Wait, oh, Dr. T said, let's do concert style in the parking lot.
you know what? That's the lick.
Concert style in the parking lot. I
That is the
like it.
lick. I like it.
Dave Chappelle did a show outside. He did a
Wow.
show outside. We
I
can do.
yeah,
I mean,
I think that's good. I know for a fact. So let me we have about can you see the numbers up top?
I got a different feed. So I shared it on Faith Based Coalition and I shared it on my page. So I have different numbers.
Okay, so it's going up to about 40. I'm going to ask everybody, invite somebody to share.
Yeah.
I promise you, the things that we're getting ready to get into will not only ignite some fire in you, but it's also going to educate you with some of the questions that you've hidden in the basement of your soul if you're just tuning in. So invite somebody, share. The numbers, I'm getting 40, 41, but I'm looking on Facebook. There's 20 on YouTube. There's
Okay.
about 15. So the numbers are rising.
Yeah. So we
Um,
got a couple of dozen on one, a dozen on another, a few dozen. So there's several dozens that we have. So,
good stuff.
but
So
yeah, I
I'm
like it.
down for that. Let's do it whenever you're ready.
Okay, so
Uh,
I got the stage, got the stuff because we immediately went back in March, our first Sunday that the city told us not to go in the building. We immediately went outside
I
and
like
was
it.
doing part. So we were doing the drive-in service before it hit and became drive-in service. We already have a screen, a large screen where we were doing drive-in movies, right?
Hmm.
So I already had the equipment, had the ability to project it into your cars and all that stuff there. Already had that. So when we were hit with March 15th, we can't go back in the building on March 22nd. We just broke out our stuff. I spent a couple of moments in prayer. Okay, God, tell me what to do, how to pull this off. At that point, we didn't understand all the things about it that we do now. So by that next Sunday, though, we had Corona killing kits ready for everybody. We had our stage. We had speakers in the parking lot. We had the transmission information to send it into your car if you want to keep your windows up, turn your AC on, crank it up, and you can have the sound projected right there. So we got all that. So that's a
Well,
hey and
I'm down and ready. I do want to say
uh-huh.
no pun intended, no shade. Just I want to say that the better you came up with that suggestion. Um, she's anointed. She's appointed. She drinks coffee. She's one of God's best. She's born in July, and whenever God wants to show the world what He can do, He created a woman and called her very good. So
Uh-huh.
I want to
Uh-huh.
thank your bride for that, Dr. T. Much love to you. Salutes from Coffee Time and the family. Thank you for coming up with that brilliant idea. Maybe if Dr. J get on some of what we own, well, I'll leave that alone.
Wait, see, I got her in my life. I don't need the coffee. I know how to dwell with her
That's
according to
good.
knowledge. You understand what I'm saying?
That's good.
So, And when she came up with it, we roll with it. Look,
I like
without
it.
any hesitation, and have never missed a beat. So, in fact, the Lord showed her. So this is back in March. God told her to cancel her women's conference in July. Now think about that. There was no way we saw it going this far. Told her then to cancel her women's conference in July. So she has an eye in the spirit, an eye in the future,
Come
no
on.
doubt about it. And I so appreciate and honor the grace that's on her life. So it makes us a much better ministerial team, much better,
Good.
a much better ministerial team. And oftentimes I'm asked, how do we make it work? The first thing is I respect her calling. I
Good.
respect her grace. I respect the God in her, and I follow that. So it's not just, how you can appreciate a person from afar. No, I honor the God in her. She said God told her something. We moving. I don't have to hear it. I do not have to hear it. When God talked to Paul and told them they were going, they said, we heard God. They didn't hear God at all, but except from the mouth of Paul. So if I can follow that through scripture, why can't I follow the same thing with someone who has a proven track record that I've seen for decades? So,
God's best prophets are born in July.
hey, look, I ain't bothered with that. I'm cool with that. You understand? That's my best friend on the planet. Nobody on the planet's closer to me than that girl.
I like
So
it.
there's nothing you could say about her that'll make me, well, I don't know about that. Mm-mm,
I like
mm-mm.
it.
My girl through
I,
and through.
I like the way you love your wife. I like the public display of love. It's not
Hmm.
just in people think that public affection is public love, and it's not. They're not one and the same. But there's a look that you all have when you look at each other,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I don't think you can fake that. It's
Right.
real. So we appreciate the example of love. Let me ask you this. Well, before we go any further, let me give a shout out to our sponsors, A Taste of Miami, 1440 Dunn Avenue. For those of you, we're still in a pandemic. We're believing God for the best, but you need to build your body. You need to get your body the things that it needs in order to be healthy during this pandemic. One of the things that I use is sea moss. The sea
Hmm.
moss at A Taste of Miami. It has soursop, dandelion root, burdock root, soursop, all 102 minerals that the body needs to survive is in their sea moss. So make sure you go in, get that sea moss. If you're there and you're vegan, they have a wonderful vegan menu. If you're pescatarian, they have something for you as well. And if you eat land animals, if that is your choice, you go right ahead. They got that too. So make sure you stop by Taste of Miami. And then while you're out, make sure you stop by Crazy Beans Coffee on 220 in Fleming Island, the best coffee on the planet. I got an opportunity to give Dr. J's wife, Dr. T, some. She's enjoying it as well. So make sure you stop by there. There's a new building that is going to be opening up in the JTA building coming in the next month or so. And shout out to our last sponsor, Be for Life Coaching Enterprise, whether it's relationship, finances, or just where you are in life, you need to Be for Life Coaching Enterprise. Now, some of the things that's been going on in our community, of course, here we are again, the shooting of Jacob Blake. And there are so many people, Dr. J, that are discouraged because, yet again, it's being seen through technology how
Hmm.
much blacks are hated in this country. I want to ask you, first and foremost, how can we as a people stay the course, stay encouraged when the same thing that we've been protesting against keeps happening? How do we not lose hope, lose faith? I get Jesus is going to be there for us. I get prayer.
Hmm.
I get
Right.
fasting.
Right.
But the natural side of us and so many others are discouraged.
Hmm.
What do we do? Where do we go from here?
So with it, we have to establish a community that'll refresh us. When we look outside for outside approval, when we look outside for outside validation to determine our success, our strength, our motivation, we get it from there. We will constantly be disappointed. And the national spotlight, if you will, the national conversation, when that becomes the thing that moves us, it puts us at a huge disadvantage, a real big disadvantage. So first, we have to find a consistent source to feed us. Without that consistent source to feed us, we will always run out. We're going to always run out.
So when you say consistent source to feed us, when you say not looking out, can you narrow that down
Sure,
for me? What does that look
sure,
like?
sure. So for both communities, for the community of faith, we have to use the word of God. We have to use our relationship with God as that. For our community that doesn't have the relationship with Jesus Christ, where they can rely on that and pull on that, you have to establish something. So if you look at the community at large, and then you make a microcosm, a smaller community, and now you look at your immediate neighborhood, you look at your friends, you look at your grocery store, you look at your direct influence and become fueled by the contributions you're making and how that needle is moving forward. That's going to really go a long way,
Mm-hmm.
a real long way. If I am measuring it based on the national needle, it may take 10 or 15 years. I can't wait 10 or 15 years to see an impact that I'm making. That
Mm-hmm.
that 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 delayed gratification is far too long. But if I look on the local level, if I look at my household, if I look at my friend's household, so make that thing just a bit smaller where we can see the needle that we're pushing. For us, our protest every Sunday at 5 p.m., which of course, now we're not doing it now because of social distancing and our numbers have kind of gone haywire. But one of the things we were looking at, not whether or not we could actually get an audience with the sheriff, not whether or not we can actually get an audience with the state attorney, but what was happening in our immediate community first. How many people were picking up the same banner that we were holding on to? How many were saying, you know what, I didn't see it from that vantage point before, but after attending a couple of your rallies, I can see that. I'm having these crucial conversations with my friends. I'm having crucial conversations in the boardroom, and I'm starting to move the needle forward in my own community. So from that standpoint, looking at it, if something happens tomorrow, something happens next week, with how many things have already happened, the chances are very likely that it will happen again. With that being where we are as a society, as a community, with that being the case, if I allow that to take the wind out of my sail, so George, of course, 8 minutes 46 seconds, and then now this has happened. Rashard Brooks. I mean, come on, we still don't have the whole no knock warrant settled across the country. All right, and then now this. If I look at it from that standpoint, even if I am making real progress, it can just seem overwhelming. So you have to have a much closer place to measure. You have to have something that you can control in a greater capacity, if you will, because some of the things from a legislative standpoint, we may not see results on that for some time to come. And we can't delay our gratification. We can't delay our efforts, if you will, and put it on the national scale only. We got to have some smaller ways where we measure this as well.
I think, and I said this on yesterday, to the folks that are watching. One of the things that we have to do as a people is stop allowing society, the culture, to define what we believe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My hope for justice and equality has nothing to do with what I see. It has more to do with what I believe. I believe that the day
Mm-hmm.
is going to come when we will reign as kings and queens, not just in the kingdom, but as a kingdom of people. But in order for us to get there, there's a level of consistency that we have to develop.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can't be up and down, in and out with the culture. And what I
Mm-hmm.
mean by that is a couple of months ago with George Floyd, you couldn't go anywhere without a protest
Right.
going on.
Right.
You
Right.
couldn't turn on the TV, you couldn't turn on social media. But
Mm-hmm.
slowly but surely, the protests began to dwindle, the news began to move, and
Yep.
it's almost as if seemingly we as a
Mm-hmm.
people, our voices lowered because
Mm-hmm.
now the culture, the news, the media is no longer pushing it. So it's
Right.
almost like we pull back. We
Mm-hmm.
have to be consistent in the
Incredible.
same way the system is consistently against us. And I
Right.
believe when we hold, maintain to what we believe and not base it on the culture, not base it
Mm-hmm.
on the media,
Hmm.
When we hold fast to what we believe, we can push and force change,
Right.
especially in the area of our spending.
Hmm.
So
Yes, indeed.
I don't know why, but I just wish Dr. T was sitting next to you. But we appreciate you too. We appreciate periodically y'all gonna hear stuff like Dr. J, one of the things that you said to me, you and Dr. T, you had mentioned it, that there is strength and there is a force that we can render as a people,
Hmm.
but that force is in our dollar. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, indeed. So the economic impact that we have as African Americans, no other community is respected like us. And when I mean respected like us, I mean pursued. We are there are things made for our community, for our culture, for people who don't look anything like us. I was watching on the news today. There's a gentleman who wrote a book about uh, Representative Lewis, and he has none of his experiences, meaning
Mm.
he's of a different nationality. And he's about to make a boatload of money off the life and struggle of a man of color, and he's never experienced any of that. The trends are set for men and women of color. There's whole industries targeted to men and women of color, and we have to understand that, and we have to own that. We have to own our image, we have to own our entertainment, we have to own our intellect, we have to own our dollar. And it's important that we target our money into places, into communities that respect, honor, and appreciate us. It will require a shift for us, it'll require an adjustment for us, and I understand it. However, at the same time, it is going to yield dividends immediately, and it's going to yield dividends long term. There's no community that you respect, and at the same time you dishonor with merchandise. For example, Gucci. I didn't have a whole lot of Gucci. I was a Louis guy. Didn't have a whole lot of Gucci, but I did have Gucci. I wasn't mad with Gucci. Gucci just wasn't my thing. But I
You
did
had
have a
Louis
couple.
Vuitton seats in your car. Go ahead.
Yeah. Now I had Louis Vuitton jewelry. I had Louis Vuitton suits. I had Louis Vuitton sneakers, shoes. I had stuff that folk didn't know Louis Vuitton made. I just enjoyed the brand. Louis Vuitton didn't do anything, so I do want to make this clear. However, what Gucci did with the design era, as they called it, and I call it a blatant disrespect. What they did, I didn't see that same thing in the Jewish community. I've never seen any gas masks. I've never seen any jokes about the Holocaust. I've never seen any just flippant moves in fashion, if you will, based on what happened to the Jewish community, if you will. Now, what the Jewish community faced pales in comparison to time and numbers. I'm not saying it wasn't horrid. Hear me clearly. I'm not saying it wasn't horrid. I'm not saying it wasn't despicable. I'm saying what happened with the transatlantic slave trade went on far longer, caused much more devastation, had a much greater impact on a community on both sides of it, if you will, the European American community as well as the African American community. The world is still in a conundrum, not knowing how to deal with the black man behind that. So it pales in comparison. Yet you do not see anybody making fun of that, not in fashion, not in any mainstream. So that thing happens to us. We take our money and we begin to own our money. We own our image. We own how we're represented. If a company doesn't invest back into our community, we just stop spending dollars with it. End of the story. We don't wait for a time like today for the NBA to say that they're going to pledge 300 million over the course of 10 years into building up African American communities. That sounds great until you realize that somebody that's not a part of our community is going to establish a business, an entity where that money is going to be funded, and it's not going to make it right into the inner city where it belongs. So our schools need attention. Our businesses need attention. Our roads need attention. And we have to, on purpose, start shopping black, buying black because it matters.
Now,
It
now,
matters.
now, let me say this, and I just need to be the advocate for a second.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm. Hmm.
there are some that say, if we buy black, what are you saying to our Caucasian brothers and sisters who have supported us? When you say buy black, are you talking about pulling support from other nationalities who've been a blessing to the black community.
Okay, so now with it, and I do appreciate that because we've had, of course, in our marches, we talk about this. Our protests, we talk about this. In our bullet points, we talk about this. We are not abandoning anything. We're on purpose putting attention where we need it. So we are not saying that others don't deserve our help, but we're saying that we're in trouble and we have to on purpose put money in our community. And those who understand our condition, those who understand our plight, they will invest dollars right along with us. We have intentionally gone out of our way and in many times been disrespected to do business and build up other communities. It is time for us to take that same energy and bring it home. For example, there's a gas station in the hood. You can't go in that gas station but 2 and 3 at a time. When school is in, don't have no book bag. Leave your book bag outside when you come into this establishment. That's just blatant, direct disrespect, total disrespect. When we deal in the Asian community, if you will, I enjoy me some fried rice. So let me be clear. I grew up going to the little Asian spot, getting me some fried rice. And the thing that stood out to me early out is these people were behind a bulletproof glass. Now, as a little kid, I thought that was just interesting because uh, who's shooting at them? We're not shooting at each other. Why did you come into our community and set yourself up in what I call a little bunker, and then don't even learn our language, our lingo, none of that, and yet we stand in line to do business with you. So I don't think we are abandoning anyone. I think we're putting attention where it is needed. And those who understand, just like our Caucasian brothers, our Asian brothers and sisters who show up and protest with us, who lead marches with us, who use their vote to leverage things for us, they understand it as well. And they would stand in line right along with us, because it's not that these other areas are going to be abandoned by everyone. In no wise are we saying collapse or crush anything. We are saying let's on purpose put some money into our community, and we need to start it.
I like to say it this way, that the Pickett family, my immediate household,
Mm-hmm.
consists of myself, my son, and my daughter. Me
Mm-hmm.
attending to their needs is not
Mm-hmm.
me being evasive or avoiding the needs of my neighbor. It's
Right.
just that I have to regulate my attention and my concern to what's closest to me
Mm-hmm.
and what needs immediate attention. So I think it's unfair to our community at large when we as a people support each other, and then you bring into the equation that means we're disconnecting from other nationalities.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we know that Jesus had 100 sheep. The parable, he had
Right.
100 sheep. One got in trouble.
Right.
One moved away from the group.
Mm-hmm.
Him leaving the 99 for the one did not mean he loved the 99 less. It did not
Right.
mean that he was avoiding the 99 or he had no concern for the 99. He had to go get the one that was in trouble, because that one makes the body complete. And I
Mm-hmm.
think when black people support black people,
Mm-hmm.
here's what we are saying. We've got to build, protect, and serve our family as a people in the
Mm-hmm.
same way that other nationalities do.
Right. Right.
Asians support Asians,
Yep.
Caucasians can support Caucasians. So we
Mm-hmm.
have to support each other. When
Right.
we build that unit and that bond that is necessary for us to make transitional changes in our community, it gives us a bigger voice for the things that we need that is
Mm-hmm.
killing us.
Right.
And I
Right.
wanna ask you. Well, let me read. Let me read some of these comments. Dr. Teresa White said the narrative is only consistently negative with people of color.
So true.
I love it.
So
Arthur
true.
Wilson says, "Can I say this? Crucial that we are taught to love ourselves."
Absolutely.
Dr. T says the only community Where it seems unification is frowned upon is the black community. And
Mm.
that's so true. And it's an injustice even in that.
Right.
Now, so we buy black, we support
Mm-hmm.
black, we
Mm-hmm.
build the strength and the bond in our community that is necessary through our economic resources.
Mm-hmm.
Once we begin to do that, what is the next step? And this is a twofold question, because the second question that I have, we see the NHL, the NBA
Mm-hmm.
take a stand and they are
Mm-hmm.
boycotting their
Mm-hmm.
league.
Mm-hmm.
How does that help us as a people?
Okay, so the latter first, and then move into. I think it helps us tremendously because it puts weight into the conversation. It gives another spotlight. I was reading quite a bit on it, and they may resume the games today. Whether they do or don't, doesn't to me take away from the initial attention that was drawn that was brought to it by these men in high profile positions. So they have incredibly large platforms, and they're using these platforms to draw attention to the injustice that we've been crying out for. Uh, so to me, that's what that does. And to add, the MLB has taken part in this as well. And the MLB is normally a very conservative league. So I'm really appreciative for our brothers in the struggle. From the MLB standing shoulder to shoulder and arm with us. Likewise, as we pool our money together, it is going to make us a much stronger community. It is going to mobilize us. It is going to give us better representation in the business sector. It is going to give us better representation in the education sector. It is going to give us better representation in the political sector. It is going to make us a fortified community. A well-funded community is a fortified community. As we begin to fund our community, we can provide proper education that will move our community forward in a much better way. Uh, I was able to send my sons to school where they got a more rounded education. Some of the things that are coming out now, my sons knew that at an early age because
Mm-hmm.
we understood the importance of education. Because I was Dr. T and I, prior military, we'd seen parts of the world. So making sure that our sons saw more of the world allowed them to see themselves in a different light. Well, I understand my experience with my family is not the average experience. I do understand the value of travel. I understand how it shapes a young man's mind when he's able to go to the continent of Africa, when he's able to go into Egypt and he's able to see the pyramids and he's able to see paintings that are undisturbed of men of color, undisturbed. He's able to see kings, undisturbed men of color. He's able to see that this region was occupied thousands of years ago by men of color. That this is the same region that our Lord and Savior was a part of. He was hid in this area amongst men of color. You can't hide. If I come to the Pickett household and hide, I will stand out. But yet we're both men of color.
Right.
So I would have to be of the deep dark chocolate persuasion to hide amongst the Pickett household. So for Jesus to be hid amongst men of color, he had to likewise be a man of color. So the more you see it, the more it changes the narrative. And our economics plays a huge role in it, a huge role in it. When we're able to finance a candidate who's going to sit in office and respect how we see life, respect the culture, and understand that just changes so much. When we have a business owner who understands the struggle and provides opportunity, provides mentorship, that changes so much. When we have educators who come from our same environment, same background, see a child acting out and automatically know that child doesn't need medication. Something may be happening at home. LeBron comes from this type of environment, and he made a promise and he started the school. I promise. Dr. T and I had the privilege of walking the halls. Beautiful place, wonderful place. However, his school directly addressed some of the issues that make education a problem. Food, not having proper nourishment. He addressed that. Uh, the when we were coming up, Pick, we didn't have uniforms. So what you wore, it 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 will either get doors open or you're gonna be raped on the whole day. It's hard to learn, man, when your pants are too tight. It's
Listen,
hard to
man.
learn when your shirt is 2 years old.
Listen.
It's
Listen.
hard.
Especially when you had to go to school with kids like me.
Yes.
Because we look for
Yes.
opportunities to capitalize in ranking, in
Right.
the field of ranking.
Exactly. So with it, the education component is impacted through our economics. It it is a huge thing that we do, and we're able to see ourselves in a different light. When the young boys and young girls, and I go back to my experience, going to the store as a young man, if I would have seen more business owners in my community that look like me, that would have had a different imprint. I wouldn't have been
Yeah.
forced to get to an age as
Yeah.
an adult where I had to read so
That's
much,
good.
I had to experience so much because I knew the picture that my country was painting to me, it wasn't true. It just wasn't true. I'm not what they say I am, and I'm no different than the people I'm around. I'm a product of my environment. We are not those people. I don't know where you find those people from when it's time to do the interview. How you get that one dude that can't talk, and all of us can talk. I
Oh
don't
my
know how you
God.
get this chick who always come out with her
Oh
rollers
my
on,
God.
and our sisters pride themselves on you never seeing their rollers. So I don't understand these people that the news is shoving down my throat, but this is not my community. So it would have allowed me to see this at a much earlier age. That's one of the many benefits we get from our economics going back into our community.
I think it's I think that's a great point that you raised there. Being able to have an image of what success is, what it looks like at an early age. You know,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Bishop C.D. Kinsey, um, the late great Bishop C.D. Kinsey, he made an indelible mark on my life because I was raised in an era where they
Mm-hmm.
taught not only would black people not be successful, if you were successful, you had to be fair skinned. I
Mm.
heard it all the time growing up.
And he wasn't a fair skinned man.
He wasn't. He was darker than me.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking in the 70s and 80s, his vision for economic development, he was the first preacher that we knew of, that we had a picture, who
Mm-hmm.
owned a
Mm-hmm.
shopping center,
I
owned
love
two
it.
of them. He owned
I
a
love
shopping center in Gainesville and Jacksonville.
it.
He had his own broadcasting network in partnership at that time with Channel 47.
Mm.
He had his own school. He had, if I'm not mistaken, there was a seminary that he had started as well. So growing up as a kid, before it was popular to drive a Mercedes Benz,
Mm-hmm.
or if you're from the northern parts, in the words of my cousin, Mercedes. If you were privileged,
Mercedes.
everybody couldn't drive a Mercedes.
Uh-huh.
And he was one of the ones, and I share that because just like it was crucial for me in growing up, it gave me a force of determination. It was one of the contributing factors for me to be able to overlook the things that I heard, ignore the things that I saw, ignore the talk. It gave me hope that a young black man, I could do something great one day. I think we as people now, we have to hold on to that hope and be that mirror for the next generation.
Right.
I think so much of our generation focuses on the now. We don't
Mm-hmm.
understand generational wealth. We don't understand inheritance. We don't
Mm-hmm.
understand legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, or I believe, that we have to really position ourselves now to do the things on the back end so we can show up on the front end.
Mm-hmm.
In our world now, the culture, everybody is successful on social media.
Yeah, immediately.
But most of the people that are, well, I'm not going to say most, some of the people that have red bottom shoes, they rocking Gucci, Louis, they got all the name brands, they are looking high and tight. They don't even have life insurance.
Right.
There are people that
Right.
have insurance on their cell phones but don't have life insurance. They don't understand the difference between life insurance, whole life insurance,
Right.
financial investments, buying land,
Mm-hmm.
buying property. And these are
Mm-hmm.
all the things that in our community we lack.
Mm-hmm.
How can we shift? How can we shift and usher in this new change. Where are the classes that teach us how to invest in the stock market, how to buy land? What are some things we can do? Because what's I believe is happening too, the way that you keep a people oppressed is you keep them from information.
Mm-hmm.
No information, there can be no education. No education, there can't be any success. How and where can we go to get this information to better ourselves as a whole?
Okay, so you just gave me a serious alley oop. So I will not Daryl Dawkins shatter the backboard, but Dr. T and I have a webinar coming up. Dr. T, I need you to put in the timeline. Can you put the link in the timeline for people to register? This is a financial. That one of the things God has anointed us for is financial strength. So you are supposed to be strong financially. Now, I'm talking to the household of faith, the believers. We don't have to have Jesus or silver and gold. I can have Jesus with silver, Jesus with gold. So the seminar is next Friday, but I need the link. I need the link, the time, so people can register. It's free. It's free. We giving out the gems for free. Giving out the gems for free. Uh, there this is something that we've done through our ministry for years. Talk about the importance of it, how you can establish generational wealth even if you come from poverty. You can establish it. You mentioned life insurance, whether it's whole or term, how to leverage it. Why should I have it? How important it is. So she just put the link in. I'm not sure if it's in both feeds, but planning my family's future. It is crucial. Things don't just happen, they must be planned.
Right.
Uh, my sons, when they were in their early 20s, Dr. T and I gave them their first house. Now, when I say that, I mean they had a house that they had no note on. No note, no deed. We gave it to them. It's
Wow.
paid off free and clear. I refuse to go my next generation and I'm renting forever. And if I don't establish my sons as owners, then I can't guarantee that they're going to have that. You
Where,
follow me there?
where
So,
did you get that concept to be able to even think beyond to give your sons a house, property,
mhm.
without a note?
Yeah, I don't. I'll just say God gave it to me through my relationship with the Lord. I don't think we should start our kids off from where we are. Our kids, I believe, we owe it to our kids as well as the next generation. And I really like the way you put it. If your son, your daughter needs attention, that doesn't mean that you're abandoning me. That means that first, that's a closer relationship. That one takes precedence because there's a need that must be addressed. So with it, I think we have a responsibility to our children as well as to our community to start them off from the place that we have last conquered. So my kids don't start off where I started. They start off where I've conquered last. At that point, we had just taken care of our first home. Now, we had just, boom, we were happy about that thing. Now, when I say that, I mean, we paid it off. So having a mortgage is one thing, but when you can take care of that mortgage, that's an entirely different dynamic. So I don't want my kids walking in having to apply, for a loan. You don't start there. Your dad or my mom already went through that. So here is a piece of property. Leverage it. Do what you want to do with it. Get you a tenant. Invest into it. Sell it so you can have some money aside, put it into another piece of property, create some more income. So these were conversations that we were having with them long before. So with it, I don't think it is something that we should deny our sons and daughters. We've gone through the wall. We've gotten bloody. Don't make them go back there. Start them off from where you are. Mentorship is the only guarantee shortcut to success. Don't allow others to learn and glean from you, and those closest to you haven't benefited from all that has been, done to make you who you are.
I want to add something in there because I think it's important that we understand you, Dr. T, your family are born again believers
Yeah.
in this area.
Mm-hmm.
In this area,
Mm-hmm.
there is a what I like to call, I call them Christian counterfeits,
Okay. Okay.
where the understanding is that God is going to bless you with this, God is going to give you this, God. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that we are incorrect, but we are incomplete. If you're
Mm-hmm.
relying on God, there are some things that you have to do to get in position for the things that God has for you.
Yeah.
Giving, praying, trusting, and believing all requires action.
100%. 100%.
And what just literally made the hair stand up on the back of my neck. You said that God told you, and after God told you, you had to act on what he said, because he could have
Oh yeah.
told you
Yeah.
and you not move.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to put movement to this. And I want to say, because I think this is important too, you and Dr. T aren't just pastors and leaders in the kingdom, but you all are business people.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
y'all smart when it comes to business.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For
Yeah.
instance, the building where how you design that.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about your business experience? People need to know,
I'm a
because
former
so
narcotics
so
proprietor.
so many preachers, so
Mm-hmm.
many preachers are good in the pulpit,
Mm-hmm.
but when it comes to that business room, they try
Mm-hmm.
to apply faith principles in the business room,
Mm-hmm.
and then they try to apply business principles in the pulpit.
Mm-hmm.
There is a way you can marry those worlds, but you have to know business like you know Bible.
Right. So I believe the Bible contains everything necessary for all aspects of life. You have to be led of the Lord to know what principles apply in the business world and which ones don't. So negotiation, one of the things, and I've gleaned so much from my spiritual dad, Apostle Ivy Hilliard. I would easily say the greatest mind on this planet in our generation. The
So you
best
had a
teacher.
mentor.
Oh yes. Still, wait, not had,
So you
have.
have a mentor.
Have currently the greatest voice, natural voice in my life is Apostle Ivy Hilliard out of Houston, Texas. Pastor Bridget Hilliard is his wife. They founded New Light Christian Center, turned it over. Now his daughter, Dr. Irisha Hilliard, is the current pastor of it. But he's still active, still on the front line, still doing it. Okay, right now I parent by permission. So my sons and my daughter's not my biological daughter. That would be just nasty if my son was with his sister, but I call her my daughter, all right? My children are grown, but I parent by permission. They still have a parent, but I don't play the same role in their life that I did when they were in high school, junior high, elementary, but I play a very vital role. Apostle doesn't play the same role in my life that he did when we first met, but he still plays a very, very vital role. So I don't think you get rid of your mentor. I don't think you outgrow mentor, even while you're mentoring others yourself. He who mentors is a mentor in the making. And if you have the audacity, if you have the wherewithal to know that someone can help you, you likewise qualify to help someone else. And
So
go ahead.
and I hate to keep cutting you off, but I need to
Mm-hmm.
unpack this,
Mm-hmm.
because you're throwing out some gems, and you have so much in you that I don't want to roll past them. I want these people to be able
Gotcha.
to hear.
Not
One
a
of the
problem.
things that you said, I asked you, when it came to business, how did you know to buy your son's property, give it to him? You said God.
Right. Right.
But then when I start asking you about the practicalities of business
Mm-hmm.
and moving and navigating in the business world, you said God and mentor.
Right.
So it is
100%.
said that if I got King Jesus, I got everything that I need.
Mm-hmm.
But you're telling me that you have
Mm-hmm.
God and a mentor. How,
Mm-hmm.
how, how do those work together?
Okay, so with it, and I do believe if I have King Jesus, I have everything that I need. I have to unpack it properly. He will give me men in my life. So I have King Jesus. King Jesus used a man, Joseph, used a woman, Mary. King Jesus didn't show up outside of the human experience. He used the existing society, existing family structure, and he brought himself into it. He had to get cooperation from both of them to come in. So what I need to do is find people that have the passion of God, have the wherewithal for the grace that's on my life, and the information to help me develop. I don't need a personal relationship with them. I need their information. It so happens that I have an amazing personal relationship with Apostle and Pastor, but even if I didn't, it doesn't matter. So you have to know how to use the word of the Lord. So David, if you will, it was the anointing of the Lord and the skillfulness of his hand that God used to lead Israel. How developed am I? So I'm a former narcotics proprietor. That's just a pretty cute way of saying I was a neighborhood terror, a drug dealer, y'all.
You
So
were a
then,
street pharmacist.
yes, yes. So then I understood profit and loss. I understood gains. I understood employees just from an entirely different standpoint. When I received salvation, I rejected everything that I learned from there. And the Lord showed me that you learn great principles, you just use them the wrong way. Okay, got it. So it forced me to look at that exchange all over again. So I'm looking at that. Now
Dr.
I,
J,
uh-huh.
that so you were a former drug dealer.
Yes, yes.
And the Lord had spoken to you and said the principle that you were using correct, you would just use them in the wrong arena.
You got it. You got it.
But the principles didn't change.
Exactly. 100%. See, and what I did, because my life is new, so everything with my old life, I rejected and I called it evil. That's incorrect. Love was in my old life. Honor was in my old life. There's nothing evil about love, nothing evil about honor. You follow me? So from there, now God will deal with all of us based on our thought process, because we'll be held captive by our thought process, or we'll be promoted by our thought process. So now God is ministering to me and teaching me that my now I was full of hate, full of anger. All that stuff needed to go. There's no room for that. However, how I wanted to do good to people, how I never defrauded, even though what I was dealing with was poison. So I wasn't jacking people. I wasn't defrauding people or nothing like that. Those things, and then understanding how to buy wholesale, how to package it, supply, demand. All of those components are extremely valuable for business, extremely valuable. So then going through understanding that, now these are principles that you need to learn and sharpen up and pay attention to as it relates to merchandising, if you will.
I uh I listen I listen very well.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes listening very well gets me in a lot of trouble because I hear what you say and I hear what you don't say.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm hearing is there is a balance that we need. And so many people in the household of faith, we know Bible, we know church, we've mastered churchology and Christianese,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but we have mishandled the principles to get us wealth. And
Yes.
because we've abandoned and mishandled these principles, we're on our way to heaven, but
Mm-hmm.
we broke in the process. We're
Yes.
struggling in the
Yes.
process. And
Unnecessarily.
the three things that I get out of this, and this is where I really believe this is one of the key components into turning our community around. First and foremost, we've got to get back in the heart of God, the face of God.
Yeah. Yeah.
He has to be our first, our foremost. He has to be our everything.
Mm-hmm.
When we turn our hearts towards him, he unlocks wisdom for us. David said
Yep.
that wisdom is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. He said that wisdom also will be my bread both day and night. And what David
Mm-hmm.
was talking about, he was talking about meditating in the word.
Right.
I want people to know that there are no discounts in the faith.
Mm-hmm.
And the oil doesn't go on sale. It's going to cost you your life,
Never.
first of all.
Never. Right.
And most of the trouble that we face is a result of the soul being stripped of its understanding so that we can marry who God intended us to be. So we got to get back in the face of God. Once we're back in the face of God, seeking the counsel of his will for his kingdom to be on earth,
Mm-hmm.
he will speak to us and give us witty adventures, ideas,
Mm-hmm.
wisdom
Mm-hmm.
to plant things in the earth that will better our communities, better our life, and create generational wealth. And he
Right.
does it two ways. He's going to deal with you, but then he's going to give you a natural voice to help guide you, coach you,
Yes.
mentor you. That's
Yes.
good stuff, man.
Yes, indeed.
That is good.
Yes, indeed.
Listen. If I had, I do have a B3 in my belly, but I
Mm,
feel,
mm.
ooh, yeah.
Wait, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Because I'm gonna jump in and join you, and I can't. I can't. I can't. The people love me. They will not love me if I
Ooh, yeah. Can I get a
can't.
witness? It
Hey,
There
I'm
is
about to
something
mute my
about
mic.
the way that you explain how God dealt with you in terms of business. He's done that for me in business. He's done that for me in music.
Mm-hmm.
I will even say to you that the wisdom that God has given me, it was not learned of a man.
Right. Right.
And when we avail our hearts to the foot or to the feet of his will,
Mm-hmm.
and we come yielded, broken, giving him our heart, there's an exchange that happens. He gives
Yes,
us
indeed.
wisdom to survive.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And I do think oftentimes we make the Bible fit a church service and not all of life.
Ooh.
And when we do that, we have demolished the totality of it. If the Bible fits the church service, then I have to look elsewhere for my family. I have to look elsewhere for my career. I have to look elsewhere for my future financial success. I have to look elsewhere for everything else when I make the Bible, when I shrink it down to a church service. But when I look at it as it encompasses everything in life, listen to me clearly, everything in life. Wherever you find yourself, whatever your dreams, your desires, the scriptures say he'll give us the desires of
Come
our
on,
heart.
man. Come on.
So he will provide the desires of my heart. Surely within scripture, there has to be the wherewithal, the ability for me to tap into this. Have
Yeah.
to be. You can't give me a desire to be a entrepreneur and then nothing in the Bible talks about business. You can't give me a desire to do something great, something incredible to move society forward, and nothing in the Bible address it, but you say you will give me the desires of my heart. So when we shrink the Bible down and make it good for a church service, we destroy everything else in life but that church service. And the truth of the matter is, as much as I enjoy every one of my services, they do not represent a true tenth of the day that they happen in. And this is what I mean. 2 hours and 40 minutes is a tenth of any day. I don't have a 2 hour and 40-minute service every day. So I'm not even a tenth of church service, but all the Bible is locked into that church service. Then what is happening with the rest of my life? Where am I getting the wisdom, the guidance, the direction for the rest of my life? And oftentimes we fail to prepare the layperson for life. We do a great job preparing them for a church service, but for life, we fail them. So you mentioned finances, right? If I am a tither, as a tither, so I encourage tithing for every believer. Listen to me clearly. I also encourage this: release your faith for God to give you ideas, concepts, and insights. Release your faith for God. Now, I'm a former hood rat, so this is hood. For God to chin check the devil when he rise up against you. The scriptures say he will rebuke the devourer for your sake. So when the enemy comes, he comes to devour. He comes to devour knowledge. He comes to devour opportunities. He comes to devour resources. So if the enemy can devour my resources, I don't have confidence to move forward. So God told you to move forward with coffee time. Well, you don't have gas money. You can't drive to Taste of Miami to get a sponsor. You don't have a car, so you don't have a cell phone, excuse me. You can't call Coffee Beans. You don't have any relationships because he's devoured relationships, made you fall out with everybody. So you can't get any mentoring, any training on what software with systems, none of that. So you just got coffee time sitting in your belly and you just drinking coffee. I got coffee time in my belly. Wait a minute. The enemy has devoured this, but you're a tither. So while you're tithing, while you're returning God's tenth, you have a covenant for God to give you ideas, concepts, and insights. So he's downloading them. But the devil has encroached upon you and he's devoured all your resources. But you don't know that you have a right to have God chin check that joker. You know, when somebody gets rebuked, they get corrected, they get confronted right in front of it. So God's going to step to the devil for touching your stuff. But as the average believer, we don't understand that. We think tithing is just between you and the preacher. The preacher don't have nothing to do with your tithe because there is nothing the preacher can do that's going to make your life better like that. It is the grace of God. So now, as a tither, I release my faith for ideas that God will give me to move my life forward because he promised to open the windows, not a window, the windows of heaven. So things in heavenly places, not earthly places, but heavenly places where it's not crowded, where I don't have to fight. I don't have to be concerned with somebody jumping in front of me. I'm good, and the timing is set by the Lord. So I'm cool. I'm not too old for it to happen for me. I'm talking to my people who are beyond the age where you think you're supposed to be producing. You think your better days are behind you. It's not on natural man's timetable. And God's going to give me these ideas, these concepts, these insights. I can see something that somebody has already done. The idea, something that's a new thing. That's a new thing. So this is the way God gave it to me. That idea will be a new thing. A concept, you'll see something that already exists and have a unique twist on it. Insight, how to make things that you're doing that you know it's supposed to be easier. Insight on how to get past those hurdles, how to get things smoothing moving forward a lot easier, right? My tithe does that for me, but it's not automatic. The love of God is automatic. The promises of God are not automatic. You got to do some work for those. So now I'm able to move my life forward. So as a man of God, as a minister, I not only teach people to tithe, but I teach them how to benefit themselves personally. Everything we do with God, it has natural benefits for us. Everything we do with God has natural benefits. So salvation gets us to heaven, but it also makes life better for us right here and now. So with that being the premise of my relationship with God, everything else, it follows the exact same suit. And I think I may be of long speech right there. So let me kind of pull that thing in.
No, that's good. And I think it's good that you take the time to explain those things. I've got so many people that are texting me and ask him this. And I just sent a text to them and I'm going to say it to y'all. Stop texting me. I want to hear this and you all are a distraction. If you have a question, raise it in the comments, and I'm sure he will grace you with his answers. All right. But I want to say this too.
Well, if I could say this, because
yes, sir.
I don't want us to be, I don't want us to be charged with false advertising, because Jacob Blake, where do we go from here? All of these things we do believe help move us forward as it relates to that. Because if we are just up in arms behind the shooting, but we have no plan to move ourselves forward, we're no different than the attorneys that we charge as ambulance chasers. When an accident shows up, the attorney shows up and passes out his or her card, just an ambulance chaser. If we don't have a real sustainable plan moving forward, then, George, we thought thought that this couldn't happen again. Not like this. And it did. And it did. And it did. And it did. With a couple of months of consistent protests, this happened. And I call it on their best behavior because they know the whole world is watching. Everybody is recording with their phones, everybody, and this happened. So we're not in a place where this thing can happen again tomorrow or even Sunday. You know what I'm saying? So this can happen any day. However, what are we going to do to move our community forward? And these are the things that we're discussing. So I wouldn't want anybody on to feel like, we just use this as a tag to get people to log on. And then now we're going to talk about Jesus. But go ahead.
No, but this is a part of the process and the planning that is necessary to move forward in economic development and economic strength. Because one of the things, even the Bible tells us that a broke man has no business saying nothing. You don't have any resources. Right. Your resources give you a voice.
You got that right.
And in
You got that
order
right.
to get the resource, K. Larry says, I receive creative ideas, concepts, and insights for my life. And I think that should be the confession of faith for all of us. If we're going to have a voice and a seat at the table, it's not going to come because you're human. It's going to
Right.
come because you're human and you own something, you have something.
You got that right.
And
You got that
everything
right.
that we've unpacked thus far, I believe, is the leading charge for us to get in a place of ownership.
hmm
Um,
If I can
think about
inject
it.
here,
Say
if
it
I can
again.
inject here, if I can inject here, the
Yes,
Bible
sir.
says, "When the righteous rule, the people rejoice." When the righteous rule, the people rejoice, and it also says right behind it, "The rich rules over the poor." So the righteous have to get into the place of rulership, i.e., the place of riches. That's imperative. So,
That's good. So we have the situation now with just Jacob Blake. We're not even on the heels of George Floyd.
right.
We're still in the heart of that issue. This other issue has arrived. And I think we've given people practical things that needs to be done to move ahead as a household.
hmm
Um, I believe Yahweh Elohim is God.
hmm
I believe Yahshua, Jesus. I believe he's king. I believe he's the Son of God. I believe we have the aid of the Holy Spirit to help lead and guide us. But I also believe in the same measure that our love and our commitment is to Christ, we have to dedicate our life and our understanding to the principles that govern our faith. It's the same principles that govern business.
Right.
If
Right.
you look at your constitution, it's the same principles in how we govern our faith.
hmm
Don't kill, don't steal, freedom of choice, freedom of speech. This is Bible.
hmm
So for our community, we don't have to create opportunities to preach. They listen. They I don't know if y'all have ever been to Heritage. They own several blocks. So if it was just an opportunity to preach, trust me, they could do that. But this
right.
is information that is needed for our people. We're not going to get ahead by our own strength.
Right.
God
Right.
has to be with us, in us, for us, leading the charge. We have
100.
really got to cry out, get back to the place of where we're seeking his heart and not his hand. When we seek his
hmm
heart, the hand comes with it.
Hand stays open. Hand stays open. My grandkids can't ask me for for too much because they're after my heart. I ask them what they want because they're after my heart, which is why God says to us, ask of me what you will. But that's connected to people who are pursuing his heart.
I like it. I like it. I I I want could you talk about the Zoom call, the
All right.
virtual meeting,
Okay. The one that we're working on.
the one that you're working on? Could you talk about that
Okay.
some more?
All right. So now this one here, the one for next week will be live. The,
Okay.
the meeting you're talking about. So
Yes.
that meeting is to help us set up. We're putting together a month-long Buy Black. That's our desire to set up businesses, black businesses in our community. Now, of course, we're in Jacksonville. However, we're not trying to limit this to Jacksonville. We just can't give oversight in other physical places. But we're looking for a physical place on the north side, east side, somewhere in that quadrant, because we want people to come there, and we're leveraging our relationships. We want it to be set up as a town center type, where it's not under the mall type. No, no, no. Town center type, where businesses come together, where you can do everything from banking to grocery store, lawyers, you name it, any and everything in between, uh, insurance, gas, whatever you need, whatever you do business with, if there is a black owner, black entrepreneur in our area, we're reaching out to them. We have more than 400 through a directory, and we're going through purging them to see, where they are physically, where they are not some of the other elements. And if I could just kind of do a little sidebar real quick with this, I don't think it's respectful when we start doing business with black folks, if we hold a standard to them that we don't hold to other companies. I really don't think that's fair. I'll double back on that in just a minute. But we're asking, where they are physically. Can they be mobile? And we're working with the city to get some things in place where we can have security out there, where we can have waste management out there, and have city dollars used to help bring attention to this. Until we do something intentional and deliberate, we can't expect things to change. So I do not have a business that I will have represented there on no level. On no level. Now, I mean personal. Now, of course, I know a ton of people in business, and I'm encouraging all of them to be there. But I'm saying the whites have no business that we will have there, because it's not for us. I do think that is important. Even if we did have a business, that would be represented there, it wouldn't change the dynamics. However, I do understand the importance of leading something and not having a direct personal vested interest where people can speak negative of your intentions as it relates to that. So that would be the primary reason why Dr. T and I would have no business at all that would be represented there. However, that's what we're working on with some of our city officials. We do need public works to help us out. We need the sheriff department to help us out. We need power there for the businesses. We need this stuff set up, and we're looking to utilize city dollars for it. And we're going to areas of town that have been neglected, which is why we're targeting the north side, the east side, where the people, they can't catch the bus out of there somewhere very easily. Many of them don't have their own private transportation. So we want to bring these things right there. And we're leveraging relationships with people who have the ability to drive over there, and let's do business with each other on purpose. And we want to do it for a solid month. So our intention is not to do it for a day, not to do it for a weekend, but to do it for 30 days solid. We targeted initially August for it, but when things happened in the beginning of July, that just threw so much off. And we couldn't have some of the meetings with the city officials because, again, we need city dollars. We need city backing for this. And it just made it very, very difficult. So hopefully this week we'll have one of the very important meetings that's needed to move the needle forward. Now, if it came just to property, Heritage has property, we could put it there, but it doesn't serve us the same. It's not the same. It is not the same at all. Just having it versus having it in the right place, having it in the right community. That to us, it really does matter. So we're not just looking for, we need a place. Well, we got a ton of acreage, so we're fine as it relates to that. But it's not the same. We need to have it in certain neighborhoods, and we need to send a message that this community matters. This community matters.
And when is this taking place again?
Well, our meeting will be next week. Our first meeting will be next week. Hopefully we can consolidate everything in this meeting, and we're going to target Thursday for it. If we can consolidate everything in this meeting, and from that meeting have everything executed within a week, we can probably start mid-September.
Okay. So there's a good action plan there. So the meeting is next week.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at launching in September.
Right.
This puts the wheels on the road, and we build the car as we travel.
Correct. And with it, one of the things, if we wait to have everything perfect, and you're talking about a person who strives for excellence. Excellence is your personal best at the moment. So my tomorrow excellence may be greater than my today's excellence, but I don't wait until tomorrow to start. So I start with what I have, and I give God my best, and I allow him to breathe on it. So let's say we started off and it's not at the level that we know it could be. I assure you, God will raise up some people to come along and help us. I assure you he will. We're not going to have a desire to do better for people. We're not going to have a desire to do better for our community, and God doesn't get involved and help us out. He most certainly will get involved. He most certainly will help us out. But if we sit back and wait until everything lines up, I don't think we'll ever start. It's going to rain some days. Well, then we won't start. It's going to be too hot. Well, then we won't start. There's a Jags game. Well, then we won't start. Listen. There's always going to be something.
They ain't gonna win no way. But you're right.
You better leave these down home Jags fans alone.
Stop spending your money in places that's not gonna yield fruit. I still vote for Jesus. I put Jesus on the field. No, that's good. That's good, Dr. J. That's real good. I want to say that I want to say and encourage those that are listening that there are ideas, that there are creative ideas, suggestions that are on your heart. I want to let you know that those ideas have been downloaded from the Father above.
Mm-hmm.
When God gives you an idea, He downloads that thing into your heart. It becomes your responsibility to give birth to it. You can't allow fear, the thoughts of yesterday, things that have happened, things that have gone before you to hinder you from launching that idea, because that idea, inside of that idea, is the answer to somebody else's problem. Every idea is an answer. People don't pay for problems. They pay because of the problems, but they pay for answers.
Yep.
And you're one of the, I believe if every man govern their own house and you look within your house and see what you have to give. When I say house, I mean your own heart. Then when we begin to produce or manifest these ideas, we can come together collectively and we can literally take the city, take the state, and take the world. But it begins with individual responsibility, with you articulating the things of your heart, praying to God, getting a mentor, helping someone to help you, serve as kind of a midwife to help you deliver the thing that is in your heart. And I believe that is the beginning. It's the beginning of change. Is there anything else on your heart you think we need to, Dr. T, do you have anything?
Dr. T's on a different call. We got a couple of ministry partners that's hospitalized, and we got daily times that we minister to them and minister to their families. So yeah, she had to slip away for that. In fact, you're in agreement with me for one of them.
Yes, sir.
And the day I text you was the day after the doctor said he wouldn't make it past 5 p.m. that day. Look at God.
But he's still here.
Yes, indeed.
And
to put context for those who are watching, on Tuesday the doctor said that he would die before 5 p.m. I text Pastor Pickett Wednesday and say, get in agreement with me. Well, how you gonna text him after? That's because God had already sustained him. You understand? And we're watching victory after victory after victory. We're still in the thick of the fight. We're not moved by what we see, only what we believe. We believe the report of the Lord. End of the story. So, so that's where Dr. T is. So I would say sit by waiting on the marching orders on our Buy Black. If you're in another city, reach out to us. We'll give you all the information that we have. Help you set up one in your city as well. If you are in Jacksonville and you're African American with a business, reach out to Pastor Pickett. Coffee time. Let him know so we can make sure that your business is represented. We're going to simply ask that all of your stuff is legit. So if any inspector or anything like that asks you about your business, we're not going to ask for business license, insurance, or anything of that nature, which is one of the things we want to talk to the city about. We want to be relieved of any liability as it relates to that. And because we don't have the infrastructure, we don't have the staff. We're all volunteers, 100% volunteers, and we're all very busy. We're all very, very busy people. So as it relates to that, if you fit, you qualify, you have a business, your friend has a business, whatever it is, let us know. We'd like to have you represented there as well. So sit by as it relates to that, but let's continue to do our part in other areas. Let's not wait until we launch the 30-day Buy Black. On purpose, find a Black grocery store and do business with them. On purpose, go to a Black gas station. On purpose, find a Black entrepreneur and do business with him. And do the same type of business that you would do with Comcast, with AT&T. I've done business with both of these companies, and they both have had horrible customer services. customer service, yet that didn't make me run away, yet that didn't make me go out and sign a petition to get rid of them. So please don't do that to the black entrepreneur who may not be as polished as someone else. But I'm talking about Fortune 500 corporations who are worth billions of dollars with horrible customer service. Horrible. Wells Fargo, in the money business, stole money from its clients. Stole money. Stole money. Yet there was no run on Wells Fargo. People were not running to snatch their money out of Wells Fargo, and Wells Fargo is in the money business to protect your money. The very thing they were supposed to do. Can you imagine a daycare beating your kids up, and then the next day, new people bring their kids there? That's exactly what we had with Wells Fargo. They stole money from the people that was doing business with them, and new business showed up. So please do me a favor and don't even think I can't do business with black folk because of this, that, the other. We're doing business with Fortune 500 corporations who are defrauding us, who are mishandling us across the board. AT&T used to throttle us until the federal government sued them for throttling us, but they ain't give us our money back from all those years of being throttled. So I'm just saying, there is a way for us to handle this, move forward. So I'm asking you, do some research. Let's not sit back and wait for everything to come our way. So the only thing, you're sitting back waiting for us to put this together, and then you're moving forward with us as a collective. But right now, you are letting your voice be heard. So the NBA players, some of them left the bubble, some didn't leave the bubble, but they still didn't take the court. They didn't hit the streets, but they protest in a way. So you may not be able to go out and hit the streets, but you can let your voice be heard. You may not be able to walk off your job, but you can use your money. So let's do so today. And then let's make sure we're registered to vote in November. Please let me be very clear, very, very clear. November is not going to solve anything.
Come on, man.
We still have a great deal of work to do. Please, 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 please hear me clearly. I am not saying that once Trump is out of office, we can sit back and relax. No, listen to me. There is no clear plan from the Democratic side nor the Republican side that will represent you and I properly. No clear plan at all. So we have to make sure we take matters into our own hands, just like we did this month with electing Rhonda Peoples Waters. Glory be to God. I'm so happy about that one there.
Yeah,
That's
me
such
too,
a long
man.
time
Me
coming.
too.
Yes,
Me
indeed.
too.
And it was a lot of hard work. For 13 times she was turned down. Her resilience is, it's impeccable. That's my girl. My hat's off to her, So, but nonetheless, those type of things we have to have the fortitude to do to make sure that we move the needle forward for our community. We have to do so. And you are not just because you're one person, I'm telling you, you matter. You matter to somebody. And as we come together as a collective, my God, we're seriously strong.
I like it. I like it. This has been a great session this morning. Great coffee time this morning. The brew was right.
All right. Glory to God. So I qualify.
You definitely qualify. I just got to give you a little bit of.
Coffee time, coffee time.
I want to yield the floor. I want to yield the floor. If you all have any questions, anything that you would like to ask Dr. White, now is the perfect time to do so. We've been on for a good little minute, and it's been good every moment of it. We're gonna load this. It'll be on the page. It's gonna be on my YouTube channel as well. I need to talk to you about YouTube, Dr. White. There's some things there that I believe you'd really be interested in. Mm-hmm. But if you all have any questions, you can, I know there's a slight delay, but you can ask at this time.
Ask what you will. Ask what you will. Now, YouTube is definitely the way to go. What we're doing is putting in place the staff to handle that. When we do, I want to bulldoze it.
Yes, sir. I'm turning it up and over.
Okay. So then we may be able to look at a couple of things while people are preparing their questions, if they have any. We may be able to look at a couple of things as it relates to that. if you have your person, we may be able to share that, share the person, so to be beneficial for them. They can work with two separate entities, with the same thing. That's our biggest hit with it, because it does require constant content. We're not
Mm-hmm.
shy on content. We have an
Mm-hmm.
abundance of content. The thing that we don't have is the staff to take the content and convert it over and begin to monitor. And
Mm-hmm.
from us, monitoring it is incredibly important. You don't put stuff out and ignore people.
Mm-hmm.
No, 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 no. Before I do that, I'm out. I am not going to ignore God's people. No, no, no.
Pray for me. Some of y'all, I will. Some of you, some of you, no, some of you, I will. You know, um, the other thing I wanted to say is being proficient in business and consistent in faith. When those two come together, you have a powerhouse of a change, not only for you, but those that are connected to you.
hmm
Now, I
You got
asked the folks, did they have any questions? I know there's a slight delay, but from the looks of it, we don't have any. So we'll be waiting. We're looking forward to the meeting on next week, and we're looking forward to um, okay, Lovey Hunter, with your stance in the African American community, how do you think this will affect your church? How do other races in your local church get involved with this movement?
All right. So my church is and has been very aware. We've been outspoken. We just have not taken to the street until this year.
Mm-hmm.
But our ministry style, our thought process, all of that, nobody who's a part of our church is shocked as it relates to that. I think it'll affect our church because others will start to see it, and it'll start to become a ripple effect. It'll give other ministries courage to speak truth as it relates to it. And one aspect that we all know, and I don't understand how we're so fearful to just honestly say that Jesus was a man of color. I don't understand that
Mm-hmm.
Charleston Heston could not have been Moses. That the media portrayal of the characters of the Bible is a lie, and it distorts our faith. I don't know how that's difficult, but I do think in the current climate, it makes it easier for others to come to the forefront. And how do other races get involved? They get involved by following suit. They get involved by having crucial conversations. So our European American brothers and sisters, I'll never ask them to apologize for their privilege. I will ask them to use their privilege to make things better for us. So don't give away your privilege. For example, Pastor Pickett has privilege with me, so he can call me and utilize his privilege with me to move whatever is important to him forward. He shouldn't apologize for that. But what he should do is use that to help others. If I have a way where I can help other people that's connected to him, and he doesn't use his privilege with me to help them, then shame on him. So for other nationalities, other races, our European American brothers and sisters directly, what could they do to help? Use their privilege to help us. So your father is the judge. Ask your father, why does he see African Americans as criminals? Your father's a police officer. Why does he shoot African Americans first? Why? Why does he see African Americans as a threat? Now, this isn't across the board, so I am not painting with a broad brush. I have some incredible friends, incredible colleagues who are European American, who that's not their posture, that's not their truth. So I am not being ignorant as it relates to that. But that's what they can do. Have crucial conversations. Join in the fight. Join in the fight. What they can do is begin to leverage their dollars, leverage their relationships. That's what they can do to help us move the needle forward.
I like it. I like all of it. Are there any other questions? Good morning, Tanya Thomas. Good morning, Yvette Scott, Nicole Young Brown.
My
Good
girl.
morning.
And if I'm not mistaken, that's Pastor Lovey. I met him here several years ago before he left and went to Louisiana.
Yeah,
Salute,
that's him.
sir. Salute,
In,
salute.
in fact, it's been a long time, love it. Good to see you on, bruh.
Mm-hmm.
Good to have you on this morning. So,
Yeah.
um, probably next week, I think we need to do another one. I think we need to do
Okay.
another coffee time. Now, you have
Right.
you have a number of spiritual sons and daughters, but there's
Mhm.
one in particular. Uh,
Mhm.
I was actually gonna be nice, but when you start laughing, stuff started going through my head.
Lord, give him a filter this morning.
ah! Hopefully, we can have Pastor Nishon Nix to join us next week. Not only him,
Right.
we're reaching out, of course, to Rhonda Peoples Waters, Ken
Would
Jefferson,
love that.
as well
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
Angie Nixon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And at some point, we're going to have all of them talk about the things that we need to do in our community, in our life, to make the world a better place for all of us.
Yeah.
My my overall goal, I really believe when every man, every woman answer the call of God on their life, things begin to change in our favor. I think
Yeah.
we have
Yeah.
too many people who folded their hands and they're waiting for Dr. King to rise, and they don't understand that the same spirit that empowered Dr. King is in you.
Right. Right.
We,
And I don't get it. And I think many of us we're looking for one way rather than looking at what we're facing has many faces and there'll be a multitude of approaches that's necessary. Not just one approach, not just one, but multitudes, if you will. Multitudes.
exactly. Exactly. Well, you have any final words, any final thoughts before we?
Well, hey, I'll let the master do that. To think how you speak life, baby. There's an anointing on that. Look at here. Huh. See, you could know the words, but God deposited that thing on the inside. But
He did
again,
it,
I'll
did he?
just say thank you so much for allowing me to grace your platform. There is real oil here. You are a well-rounded person, of course. You know your comedic side and all that. That's wonderful. But there is a real grace upon coffee time, and I'm just honored that you would share this time and allow me to be on it. And thanks for caring for our community
I'm honored
because
that you would take the time to join us. It means a lot, not only to our community, but it definitely means a lot to me as well. I think the grace connects us in ways that we can never explain with words. So thank you for your time this morning.
you got it, sir. You
To
got it.
everybody else, thank you all so much for joining us. Keep in mind, without your ear, we don't have a voice. You make this possible. As long as you show up, we're going to do our very best to be here, unless God says something otherwise. You all go out and be great today. Remember, you were born to win, predestined to succeed. There is nothing that can happen to you today that the wisdom on the inside of you does not have the answer for. But in order to get the answer, you got to calm down, slow down, be quiet, listen to wisdom, let it speak. And when wisdom speaks, you'll always win. You all have a great day, and remember to think higher. Speak life.
All right. Love it.